be executed by attendees. They have to be reviewed and executed and signed by attendees. And then once that's done, then I post them in the town clerk's mailbox, and then they go on the website. And since you're gonna sign it too, Terry?
Yes, the three of us.
So Robert will be joining us in a few minutes. This is, you didn't get a copy, he just sent it to Mark and I.
I think I got.
This came this afternoon.
Oh, this afternoon.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that'll,
Yeah, I didn't get that.
that's what he's gonna want to discuss. That's item B, discuss any new business. That's always part of the FinCom agenda, because Robert usually attends.
Okay.
And I don't always know what he wants to discuss, so I just put that in there. Like on Monday, at the joint BOS meeting, we're gonna have an RFT, reserve funds transfer, that the FinCom has to agree to, and then I have to sign, and then it goes to the BOS and they sign it. And basically what that amounts to is, if you look at the omnibus budget, there's a line item in there that says reserve funds. That's kind of a set aside for any budget items in the omnibus budget that go over and they need to do a transfer. We have to approve that. So that's what that's for. So Terry, if you sign that, since you wrote it, I will put them in Susan's mailbox this evening.
Okay.
So for the purpose of the agenda, the November 20th minutes have been executed and approved by the attendees. Lou's name is on here, but he wasn't a member of the Finance Committee on the 20th of November, and Selby is absent. But we have a form. So, moving on to the second item of the agenda, Robert Pomprion, the town manager, will be here shortly. He has 5 items that he would like to discuss with us. And if you would, Lou, if you'd like to just read them, what you got in your hand.
All right, item 1 is initial draft of FY 2021 omnibus budget. The second item is the plan agenda for the January 13th, 2020 budget presentation to the Board of Selectmen and the FinCom. Item 3 is the fiscal 2021 capital plan update. Item 4 is the budget, next steps and process. And the last but not least, item 5 is any questions or comments from the FinCom.
Thank you. No, might as well pass that on to Terry since he's the clerk, and that can be added to the minutes of the meeting. And as we're waiting for Robert, why don't we go to number C? Are there any questions or issues relative to the joint meeting that we can just discuss? Lou, are there any issues about that that you're unsure of?
No.
I think their plan is to have it in here.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's going to be, yeah. The
It will
plan
be a
is to
full
have it,
table.
But it's a public hearing too, so there's going to be a bunch.
Depends, you never know. We've done the omnibus budget and there's been absolutely nobody in the audience. We've done the omnibus budget and it's been SRO, so.
When does that start?
6.
6, okay. All right, I'll be able to be here at about 7:45.
Okay.
What? 7:45.
Well, the 3 of us will be here, Selby will be here, so you can not be here, and in the meantime, somebody will take over your clerk duties. They won't do it near as well as you do, but.
I've actually tried to match up the document to the actual, so it looks very similar to this, right? Using the seal and everything on it, so I think it looks kind of cool.
Well, your minutes have been excellent.
Got good tutelage.
Oh, is it? Are you planning on going to the Nashua, Neshoba Tech breakfast
On the 31st?
on the 31st?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know
I went last year.
yet.
Okay.
Yeah. We're all invited to it. Did you get, yeah.
I did read that, and it piqued my interest, but it was during the morning or something, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
morning?
breakfast.
It's a breakfast because it's Neshoba Tech, so it's cooked by students.
Yeah.
And it's not bad, actually.
It's probably
Price is
much
right.
better than the breakfast I eat, typically eat. So.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's always good for someone to go. I mean, Robert goes.
Mr. Pompriano.
Gentlemen, I'll be
You're
right
welcome.
with you. Let me just grab my things.
And they just talk about, their upcoming budget cycle and what they've been doing and what we can expect, because it's representatives in from whoever has to support that. That's what it is.
Well, you know that Neshoba Tech and the Ayer Regional Shirley School District are. Robert, would you like to join us at the table, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Thank you for your email. We read it into the record, so
Okay.
um,
Lou, how are you? Happy
Fine,
New
thanks.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Terry, Mark,
Hello there.
Pat.
again.
Again, Happy New Year.
Yep. Happy New Decade.
New decade.
Isn't that weird?
I'm still catching up to a new century, so.
Yeah.
We had that recently.
I like, my
Yeah.
favorite part, this year, this time of year is my favorite part, because I like to tell people at work, well, we talked about that last year. And they look at me like, oh yeah, we did.
Robert, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the FinCom, Happy New Year. I look forward to working with you in 2020 and on FY21 budget. All things budget this time of year.
All things budget this time of year.
So in the interest of time, as I mentioned to the chair and the vice chair, I sort of just outlined some of the topics I just wanted to briefly touch upon.
They have been entered into the minutes, by the way.
Oh, perfect, thank you. And I'm more interested in any of your questions or feedback as we move forward. So a couple things. I'll start with the FY21 budget. I did send, and I have hard copies here, some of you may already have it. I did send, this would have been on January 3rd, to both the FinCom and the BOS, the initial, and I want to stress, initial draft version 1 of the FY21 omnibus budget. So as the FinCom will recall, on November 8th, as I do every year, we issued a budget directive to all departments to prepare their budgets. We asked for a level funded budget, no new personnel, and also asked them to break out or define any increases to their requests. So what you have in front of you is really their initial submissions. I'm pleased to report, if you look at the last page, and it's highlighted in red, I've highlighted wherever there are increases, but on the very back, as we sit here today, the budget came in at a 2.6% increase over last year. Keep in mind, and I submitted a memo to you in the Board of Selectmen along with this on January 3rd. This is just the omnibus budget. It does not include the school assessments, which are a considerable piece of our budget. There is one union. I have the town hall clerical union contract is currently in negotiations, so that's not factored into here. We don't have the definitive health insurance number yet. Mr. Johnson, our benefits payroll manager, will get the exact health insurance figure from Minuteman Neshoba Health in February. So as you can all appreciate, and you gentlemen all know this with budgets, I think of it, we're in a work in progress all the way up to town meeting on May 11th. I said 14th, I was wrong, May 11th.
Yeah,
so I'll use
Monday,
the,
right? Yeah.
yes, Monday. So keep in mind, this is the initial budget. Ms. Cabri, the finance manager, and I are actively meeting with departments to scrub this budget. You will be provided with updated versions, so this is version 1, and they'll be clearly marked the next version and the date, so some of these things will change. The key takeaway for tonight is this is the document we'll use next Monday for the joint meeting. So I look forward to meeting with you and the Board of Selectmen next Monday, the 13th at 6 p.m. here. The plan is, I do have a reserve fund transfer, and I appreciate the chair adding that. We'll start with that, and then I will make a brief presentation using the screen, a brief presentation of the budget as it stands now, the omnibus budget. I'll offer an overview on revenues and expenditures as we know them now. We'll go through the budget briefly. All departments will be here to answer any questions that you may have or the BOS may have. So I'll make a brief presentation. It'll be opened up to questions from the FinCom, BOS, and then we've also invited the public. And so if there are any questions from the public. This is new this year that we're doing this public meeting, but I think it's of value to get everybody on the same page in the beginning of the process. We will then come back on March 9th, I believe, as a group, and the budget will have gone through a lot of versions and so forth, and we'll have another public discussion on the more finalized budget as we're getting ready to get into town meeting. Now, what will have happened from January 13th till March 9th, of course, the FinCom will have met probably several times, maybe met with departments. BOS will work through this whole process and then come back with a more final product, if you will, in March before we get into town meeting. Interestingly, with this budget, as you'll see, the 2.6% increase really comes from contractual increases that are largely driven through collective bargaining agreements, and largely our three biggest departments in public safety: police, fire, and DPW. You'll see there are very few of the deltas on the upward from other departments. We are always open for ideas, suggestions, guidance, and that's why all the departments will be here on Monday as well on adjustments and so forth that need to be made. So in terms of the omnibus, and I just want to point out, if you go to the town's website under departments, under town manager, I have a tab that says FY21 budget. If you go there, it has all of the most recent FY21 documents. So if you're missing something or you don't want to search through your email, it's organized clearer there. A key document that is there is the budget calendar that the FinCom and the BOS set. So all of the dates. I'm pleased to report that we're on schedule for everything, so long as weather cooperates and so forth. So in terms of the omnibus, that's at a 2.6% increase as submitted. There are some variables that are not factored in that would affect it upward, but we're also actively meeting with departments to make also adjustments. So our goal is to have the minimum increases possible over last year, but I think this is a good first start.
If I recall correctly, Robert, last year the union contract negotiations with both fire and police occurred last year.
Yes.
And they're not in this year, so it looks like we're going to be able to make it under the 4.8
Yes.
from last year. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you. And the chair is absolutely correct. Last year was a big year. We had the larger collective bargaining agreements, so there were larger budgetary impacts. We don't have those this year, so that is a positive. So,
Yes.
So again, on Monday, in the interest of time, because I have a few other items briefly, and I want to get to any of your questions, we will do a review of this on Monday. So Monday, I'll make a brief presentation. After the presentation, open it up to questions from BOS, FinCom, and then any questions from the public. As I always say to the chair and and Lou, you're new here, but I'm always available.
Yes.
Stop by if you have any questions, as is Lisa Gabri, our finance manager. Our goal during the budget process, either she or I will be at all of your meetings. It'll probably mostly be me, but sometimes it'll be Lisa, or anybody that the FinCom wants to request to meet with. That is one of your authorities, any departments that you want to bring in. And today I had a staff meeting, so some departments asked if the FinCom would be calling them in. I said, stay tuned, so to meet with them in more detail. So that's, and that you have this also electronically, so that is for Monday. The second piece, and the chair who is on the capital planning committee, and I'll pass this out as well, just for everybody's benefit, it's a sort of a new year, we sort of rehashed a lot of things. The town of Ayer,
This looks very familiar.
yes, the town of Ayer has a capital planning committee, and the committee is charged with, and your representative from the FinCom is your chairman, and I know that your vice chair has also been attending. Oh, yep.
I was gonna say, I have one, so.
So the capital planning committee is a 7-member committee appointed by the Board of Selectmen, of which one of those 7 is a FinCom rep. And Ms. Gabri, the finance manager, and I are the staff support for the committee. And we started the capital process back in October, if you will. And what you have in front of you, last night, the capital planning committee met yesterday afternoon. They make formal votes, recommendations to the Board of Selectmen on the capital plan. And then in turn, the Board of Selectmen, these items will appear on the town meeting warrant in May for the voters to vote on. So what you have is Ms. Gabri's spreadsheet from yesterday. And of course, Pat, this is very familiar to you. You'll see, and again, if you want more information, the Capital Planning Committee has a web page on the town's website that has all of the minutes and the original requests are posted there. So what you'll see, the first page are all of the general fund items that were requested. So every October, I issue a request on behalf of the committee for departments to submit capital. And as the committee is aware, any one-time item over $10,000 is subject to the capital process. So it's one time, 10,000 or more. And anything that's over $300,000 is subject to a debt exclusion or capital exclusion, which is a 2-part process: town meeting approval and a ballot. And we just had a capital exclusion last year with the fire truck. There was none this year.
Right.
So as you'll see, you have on the left, you have each of the departments. You have the item that was requested. You'll see the original request, and then you'll see the vote of the Capital Planning Committee, which they did yesterday, approved. You'll see the date of the vote. And then what we try to do is, in the 4th column, is any item that is $30,000 or under, we try to do as an outright purchase as opposed to borrowing and so forth. So you'll see the purchase, and we purchased that out of the capital stabilization account. And you'll see at the bottom, note A from Lisa, the balance in the capital stabilization account as of December 13th is 1.8 million. And in past recent years, we've purchased capital assets with a value of $30,000 or less, transferring out of capital stabilization. So you'll see that's that note. You will see some items that were either moved completely to the operating budget, or portions are. If you look, information technology, digitization of records, ITS for 12,000, 8,200 of that was moved to the operating budget. And then you'll see, if it is a borrow, you'll see the amount, and then you'll see the estimated term of the borrow and the impact on the interest. And then the far right are generally Lisa's notes, which are either reflective of discussions of the committee deliberations on that. So that's the first page. So you have a total amount of 1.1 million, $1,161,250 for the general fund. The second page is the enterprise funds. As everyone is aware, the town currently has 4 enterprise funds: a water, sewer, an ambulance, and a solid waste for the transfer station enterprise. There were no requests this year from solid waste, but you'll see water and the original request and the amount to borrow. The biggest request, the biggest issue this year is the Spectacle Pond PFAS plant. As many of you remember, many of you know, because we've been talking about it for quite some time, there is PFAS in the Ayer's water, and we have to get the PFAS out. So we built the Grove Pond plant, which was about $2.5 million. The good news is that after that was approved by town meeting to borrow the money, the United States Army is paying for that plant because they contaminated the water over on Barnum Road. No sooner did we get that good news, our second water source, Spectacle Pond, tested for PFAS. We have to build the same treatment over at Spectacle Pond. We don't have a responsible party yet. DPW is working with the EPA and the DEP on that process. So we are looking for $2.6 million to build the Spectacle Pond plant. That's in addition to the $3.5 million that was originally authorized for Grove Pond. So that's the biggest capital for this year. The challenge, so what will happen with water and sewer, we also have a rate review committee. And I believe Mark is the FinCom rep right now. So the rate review committee is a 7-member committee that quarterly meets to review the water and sewer and the transfer station rates for the town. The challenge now, as capital is the first phase, on both water and sewer, the rate review committee will start meeting January 22nd to develop the water and sewer rates for the upcoming year. As this committee knows, all of this capital in water and sewer does drive those rates. Our goal is to keep a water rate increase of no more than 2% each year. We've been successful there. In one year, we didn't even raise rates one year. Sewer, our goal is not to have a rate to exceed 3.5%. Sewer is a more expensive process. We do that through DPW and Lisa through a whole series of modeling and what have you. And I encourage you, if you want all the dirty details, Lisa is an expert on it. So our next challenge will be now to develop the rates. So we're always appreciative when the Capital Planning Committee has made their recommendations. So water, the biggest one is the PFAS plant. And there are some considerable other projects there totaling $3.9 million in water, $1.3 million in sewer, and there's one item in the ambulance enterprise to replace the manual CPR machines for $16,000. So the total of the enterprise funds capital is $5,266,000. So in terms of next steps, I wanted you to have this information. In terms of next steps, on the first page, the next step, the Board of Selectmen will approve this on the spring town meeting warrant, and then it's subject to approval by the voters as the next step on that. The second page, minus the ambulance enterprise, but for water and sewer, the rate committee will now do its work to develop the rates. In the event that the rates in either category far exceed an acceptable model, we use 2% and 3.5 as benchmarks, but if it gets high, then the rate review committee will often advise the Board of Selectmen to ask the Capital Planning Committee to reconvene. We've had to do this on occasion to adjust downward. So in terms of next steps on water and sewer, rate review will do its work in January and February, and then we'll either be going to town meeting just as this. There may be a chance this year that we might need a capital meeting to adjust, but time will tell.
Yep.
So again, if you have any questions, even after this meeting, on any of the capital requests, Pat's your representative there. I know Mark has come to some of the meetings, and all of the original requests, again, are on the website. But if you ever need any hard copies, just let myself or Lisa know. So capital process is underway, omnibus is underway, and now we go to the development of the water and sewer rates. Lastly, which, in talking with the Board of Selectmen, this is an interesting challenge to have, but it's a good challenge to have. As we work together with the FinCom and the Board of Selectmen, the town has approximately $2 million in free cash on the table. And we need to make that's a nice problem to have, than the alternative. We will be having some discussions, I'll be coming to you in future meetings, to discuss what we're going to do with this free cash. Our stabilization account.
That's certified by the state.
That's certified by the state. So we have about 2 million certified by the state. We also, as I sent to you, got the first retail marijuana payment. So we have one retail cannabis establishment. By law, 3% of the sales come back to the town. So that was for September, October, November is the first payment, but he didn't open till the end of September, so it's not a true reflection. We got about $40,000 that we never had before because it's the first on that. And then we have a local meals tax. That quarterly payment was about $36,000. The meals tax has been about $120,000 a year. So what we will be discussing is, because the town's stabilization account exceeds the Department of Revenue's recommended benchmark. So they recommend, in Ayer's case, we should have a minimum of 1.5 million in stabilization, and we're at about 1.8. Obviously, we still want to put some, it's always good to say, put some funds into the stabilization account, and as everybody knows, the stabilization account, to use it, requires a vote of town meeting. So we definitely want to put some of that in stabilization. The capital stabilization, which is on the cover of that handout I gave you, right now is at about 1.8 million. That should be at a minimum per the DOR around 2 million. So we've been building that up. So we obviously are almost to that benchmark. So stabilization, capital stabilization. Then we have post-employment benefits. We have the OPEB account. And our OPEB liability for each year is approximately $320,000. So what the town has done has been, our practice is take the $120 from the meals tax and make up the difference with any free cash for the $320,000 each year. Mr. Johnston, our benefits payroll manager, I'm thinking he and I, Mr. Chair, come with the treasurer to one of your future meetings to discuss. There may be an opportunity. It might be in our interest to increase our OPEB payment because it affects our bond rating, and there could be future savings. Also, there is some preliminary discussions, which I definitely want to come to the FinCom to talk to sooner than later, about also increasing, you can forward pay your retirement assessment. So we have a Middlesex County retirement assessment, and Kevin found out that you can, if you forward fund that, there could be considerable savings. So he's working on that analysis with Ms. Gabri now, but I'd like to come and make a presentation and get your thoughts. So in addition to our normal budget process, which is a lot to do, we have an exciting problem as to maximize our free cash in other areas and make some key decisions. So that was sort of just my overview for tonight. If you have any ideas or questions or suggestions.
Robert, I want to thank you. That's good news. It's good to know. Do you have any suggestions as to the dates that you would like to come to us and talk about these things? Because we could schedule our meetings based on that.
So what I would like to do, and I do, tomorrow I have an internal meeting on these topics. So after tomorrow, I can transmit to you.
Great.
I'll have a sense of when we can schedule those meetings. And I think we could probably do both the issue of the retirement assessment and the issue of the OPEB, at one of the meetings.
So.
Well, then on Monday, when we meet
Yeah.
again, we can set the dates
Yeah.
and put those into a record.
Mhm.
Great,
Yep.
super.
I think the last thing, and I don't want to give you the wrong date, so I'll send it to everybody, as is always the case, because one of the biggest pieces of our budget is the regional school assessment. We have 2 regional schools.
25th of February, I believe.
Thank you. So the 25th of February will be a joint meeting of this body and BOS. Dr. Malone, the school committee, will come to present the school assessment. And the end of this month, I think it's January 31st, the
Neshoba
Neshoba,
breakfast.
the breakfast, and I'll send that again if
Yeah.
any of you would like to attend. Students do a nice job, and at that breakfast, they release, which I'll transmit to you anyway once I get it that day, they release what their assessment's going to be, which is obviously smaller than this one, but, so we'll have that information.
Okay, good.
And Mr. Chair, the only question I like I said, I had a department head meeting earlier today, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, and they'll all be here on Monday anyhow, but some were just asking if the FinCom was looking to meet with any of them, and you don't have to answer that tonight, of course, but I said I was coming and I would ask.
Well, as I recall, and correct me if I'm mistaken, which is entirely possible, we asked for a joint meeting with all the department heads in lieu of meeting independently with the departments. So I don't believe that we have a plan to meet independently with the departments, but that could change depending upon
Yeah.
Monday, and we'll do a review of this.
Yep.
So on Monday, we'll be able to answer that question.
Fair enough. And as you know, it's not required. It's whatever you decide. But that's
Yep.
sort of what I told them. I said, let's see how Monday goes. But absolutely, any information that you need or are interested in, let us know. And that
Yep.
includes the departments coming before you.
Yep. Well,
So,
historically, we have a very, very good relationship with the town and with you personally, so thank you for that. Thank you for your openness and your transparency. It's really makes our task much easier.
great. Well, and I must say, I always enjoy working with the FinCom, and I do appreciate, because you're all volunteers, I appreciate the time and your expertise, because it's important to have, on behalf of the citizens, that transparency and that review process of the budget. In the budget, it's constantly, as you know, cyclical,
Yep.
and it's a work in progress, and it's subject to revisions. And as always, if the FinCom has concerns or suggestions and so forth, we're all ears, and we like to implement those. So,
Yep, we got a very good working relationship,
Yeah.
so thank you for fostering that and supporting it.
great.
Are there any other questions for
I do
Ron?
have a question. It's a very general question, and
Sure.
it may be very hard to answer in general terms, but you talk about you were discussing with the departments, you're talking with the departments about adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what kind of adjustments are you looking at? Are you looking at specific types of items, or are there, and again, I know this is kind of hard to answer maybe, but
It's an excellent question, first of all, and it's an ongoing question. What I mean by that, as your brief piece, give you a snapshot of Monday night, I'm going to have a brief slide on departmental efficiencies. So one of the things, the budget is the tools to give our departments the ability to deliver the best services, and that's the most important thing we do. So sometimes a budget efficiency requires actually increasing the budget potentially. But we're constantly looking for efficiencies, because one of the challenges we have as a municipality, we're a service sector industry. And the biggest piece to deliver the services is personnel. And personnel, there's a cost to personnel. And you also want to be competitive in personnel and salaries in the marketplace. But what happens is so many of our personnel are either in unions and union contracts, or have other personnel service contracts. As I mentioned, like on the omnibus, if you look at the 2.6% increase, a lot of that is just as automatic contractual increases. And to make changes in contracts, and we do it all the time, but it's not a light switch. There's a whole process. So I'm always trying to find ways that we can work smarter, or where there are other efficiencies within the department. So one of the things we're currently working on, the IT director, at my request, Cindy Knox, is currently analyzing, for example, all of the mobile devices used in the town. You'd be surprised. The iPhones, like in asking folks and doing an analysis, okay, can you accomplish the same thing, say, with a flip phone, or do you need the iPhone 10 or so forth? Now, interestingly, we spend a lot of money, as you can imagine, on these devices. We want people to have the right tools. So that's just a minor example. So we're always looking for wherever there can be efficiencies. One of the things which we'll be talking about, I think, in the year ahead that the Board of Selectmen is interested in, this is will require some work, is also looking at a personnel efficiency study. In other words, we have all of these positions and folks work hard, they do a great job, but are there other opportunities, maybe for a combination of positions or so forth? I don't have those answers tonight, but the Board of Selectmen have been interested in looking at, which you should do periodically, a personnel efficiency study. So those are the type of things we look at. You'll see we have all new LED lights that Chuck Schultz, our facilities director, got a grant to put in. Again, another sort of efficiency, because one of our other biggest challenges, especially in DPW with water and wastewater, is energy costs, because the wastewater treatment plant never shuts down, the water plants never shut down. So we're always open to any thoughts, and I know this committee in the past has had them on efficiencies, best practices. I always say, though government is not a private sector business, that doesn't mean we can't adopt best practices from the private sector.
Right.
We're never going to take the public piece of the politics, that's what makes it government, but best practices we're always open to.
I mean, the goal of the budget at the end of the year is to come out with a zero, so it's all balanced. And one of the things, the town is very good at budgeting, but last year, for example, we had $1 million excess at the end of the year from the budget. Well, if we could do a better job of budgeting exactly what things are going to cost, and certainly there's some variances, then the budget would be closer to the bottom line, and the overage, well, it becomes free cash. It's free cash because we didn't spend what we thought we would. Why did we think we would spend it?
Right.
So those are areas of efficiency that we can improve upon to some degree.
Yes.
We don't want to get wrapped around the axle trying to solve a problem that's not a problem, but there's probably efficiencies that could be gained there. So that's one of the things that we might be able to help with, is looking at some of these things with your experiences and yours, to say, maybe we do this a little differently, and some ideas like that. So we're solicited to do that sort of thing.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Robert, thank you very much.
Gentlemen, Happy New Year. I'll see you on Monday, and I look forward to it. In the meantime, because that always happens to me, I get out to my car and I have a million questions. You have my email. Give me a ring. If you want to meet, stop by. As Pat knows, Lisa's a great resource.
Yep.
She's available too. We look forward to working with you on this budget in the years ahead. So, all right.
Thank you, Robert.
Gentlemen,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Good evening, Robert.
Yes, thank you.
So, gentlemen, if that pretty much concludes what we had on the original budget. Are there any items of discussion? Lou, this is your first time in the barrel. Do you have any questions, ideas, thoughts?
Not at this point, but I'm sure I will, especially after Monday, or at Monday's meeting.
Has it been what you expected it to be?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just going to take me some time to just ramp up and
Yeah,
understand.
sort of vernacular and
Yeah.
stuff, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Terry, are you going to be there at 7:45 Monday, or were you kidding when you said that?
I'll be there until 7:45.
Until.
I'll be there. I can be there from 6 to 7:45.
Okay, well, we'll have to get it done by then. All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn if we have nothing else.
I move that we close the meeting at 7:11.
Good.
7:10, okay, 7:10.
Second.
Any discussion? All in agreement?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is closed at 7:12.
Did we ever get our part?